Thank God this real life drama is yours and not mine, selfishly. Yes, that's right. These are your stories. These are not Reddit stories. And if you guys want to submit, the story submission form is linked in every video below. If for some reason it's closed, just know that it always reopens once I catch up, because I really do go through every single one. I don't want to miss them, you know? It's a lot. The first story we have is coming in from Parker. I'm always surprised when someone puts their name because most of them are left anonymous. My wife missed our wedding because she had to spend the weekend in jail. I'm so excited that you shared this. To start out, this is not what you think it is. This was a big case of mistaken identity. Also, I'm using fake names due to legal reasons. Involved are me, 31 male, and my wife, Ruby, 37 female. And this wedding drama is one for the ages. If this isn't a sign that we're meant to be together, I don't know what to say. Welcome to our own episode of Law and Order. This goes back to 2012 when Ruby and I were originally supposed to get married on June 15th. I was so excited to finally marry the love of my life, but I guess life throws curveballs at you in the most unexpected ways. Here's some background. Ruby and I have known each other since we were 5 years old. Her family moved into the neighborhood only a few houses down from mine, and I would always run over to play with Ruby. We were always together, and eventually we became a couple after we got older. I always had a feeling that she was the one. A classic case of childhood friends becoming each other's other half. I won't forget asking Ruby, "Did you ever believe when we were kids that we were going to be married?" She laughed so hard and playfully kissed me. Okay, this is like the cutest love story ever. She said, "Baby, you had me the first night I saw you running in your trousers." True story about how we met. Fast forward, we dated throughout high school and we became engaged in 2009. We had to put off the wedding for a few years so that we could both get through college before we settled down. Now, I want to point out that Ruby is not the kind of woman that would get in trouble with the law. She works as a caretaker at a special needs facility and is a volunteer at the soup kitchen. She's the kindest and brightest person you would ever know. She's always been my shoulder to cry on and has always encouraged me to follow my dreams. Just remember this when we get to the good stuff. Now, let's get to June of that year. The week of the wedding was here and we had everything planned out and everything was set to go. Just for context, we live in Santa Clara, so we figured to make it extra special by having our ceremony and reception, we would have it right along the beach. So now it's Friday night and we had just wrapped up the rehearsal dinner and Ruby and I kissed each other goodbye for the last time as singles before our supposed wedding. Now here's where the craziness begins. The wedding was scheduled at 4 o'clock. Throughout most of the day, me and my guy friends just hung out by the beach most of the day, and I didn't hear from Ruby at all per wedding tradition. Our big day then flipped upside down when I heard Ruby's mom screaming my name and running towards us. I became very worried about what this was. Ruby's in jail! As you can imagine, I was puzzled and confused because this is something that I very much did not expect to hear. That couldn't be my Ruby. Why would Ruby do something to get herself arrested, especially on our wedding day? I asked her mom if she had any other details, and all she got was a phone call from Ruby from the jail telling her that she was arrested for alleged assault and battery. What? Ruby was saying that she fit the description of an assault that took place at a coffee shop. As you can imagine, I was stunned and very confused as to what was going on. I was starting to feel overwhelmed and started having a panic attack because this was happening on our wedding day. I immediately drove down to the station where Ruby was being held. I tried convincing the officers to let Ruby go and that she's innocent and that it was our wedding day. The officer said, "Well, I highly suggest you find a new woman because yours assaulted an elderly woman." So many things going through my mind. I started to believe that this was true and that Ruby wasn't whom I've known all these years. The officer told me that felonies, assault and battery carries a no bond penalty and I couldn't bail her out. I told them to let me speak with her and they brought me into the phone booth to talk to her from behind a glass window. I was filled with rage and anger. Again, this was before everything came to light. "You better tell me what the hell's going on and why you're here and not at the altar." Ruby described in detail what had happened. She went to a coffee shop with some of her bridesmaids for breakfast just to have some quality girl time before the wedding. As soon as they entered, the police were there investigating an assault on an elderly woman. For context, Ruby is 5'7", athletically fit, and was wearing a black workout shirt and orange shorts because they had just gotten there after doing their morning workout. Apparently, from eyewitnesses, the offender was wearing similar clothing and had the same features as Ruby. This woman, who we will call Karen, caught sight of Ruby and pointed her out, thinking she was the one, and kept pleading that it really was her. For more background, Karen's grandmother was the victim of the assault, and when she saw Ruby, she thought it was her. Ruby said she did her best to explain and said that they all just came from the gym and that they are mistaking her for someone else. That's when the police arrested her for allegedly assaulting Karen's grandmother. I believed her, and it definitely felt so relieving, but at the same time, my blood was boiling at this Karen. Do they just arrest someone that easily though without any evidence? Like they'll just, because one person was like, oh, that's her. Like you don't check like camera footage first. Like even if you held Ruby in the store and just wait here, we're gonna keep checking things out. Do they really just like, oh, she did it. Okay, must be her. Behind bars. Oh my God, that's terrifying. I understood the police had a job to do and that this is how it goes whenever they're investigating crimes. This was a case of being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Since it was Saturday, Ruby was being held until Monday for her arrangement. As of our wedding, Ruby told me to contact our reception host about what happened and see if they could do something. I also told Ruby to not say anything nor answer questions without a lawyer present. I got in contact with my family's lawyer, who is so badass, thank God for her. First things first. Ruby was scheduled to appear for her arrangement on Monday. As you can expect, our whole family was shocked and outraged on the whole situation. Me and Ruby's parents both showed up to the court to support Ruby, where she of course pled not guilty. Also, Karen and her grandmother didn't even show up to the hearing, so therefore the judge and prosecutor agreed to release Ruby for the time being so that the detectives and defense could gather more information and evidence. Ruby was visibly shaken and emotional because this whole mess caused us to miss our wedding. I was angry too. I wanted to confront Karen about it, but legally I couldn't, and I didn't want to risk putting myself through legal trouble. We just had to let the system run its course and let our lawyers do their work. Yes, the truth will come out. In case you're wondering, our reception host, who is a good friend with my dad, was kind enough to allow us to postpone the reception at no extra charge for another time. About a month passed by before we got another breakthrough on the case. It was confirmed that Ruby was not the attacker because her DNA wasn't found on the grandmother's body. The police ended up arresting another woman who did indeed turn out to look very similar to Ruby. She had the same hair color, facial features, but she did look a little more bulky and had tattoos on her arms, which made an easy difference in identifying who she was. Thanks, Karen. Fast forward, Ruby was cleared of any wrongdoing and the actual criminal was taken away. As for Karen, I gave her a piece of my mind and said that she was going to pay for putting my fiance in jail. Thanks to the help of some detectives and from our lawyer, Karen agreed to compensate us by paying for our new reception. We scheduled it for the following weekend, and as an apology gift, our lawyer, who we're still good friends with to this day, arranged to give the wedding party a police escort to the beach. Needless to say, it was such an amazing experience. Everybody came together for Ruby and I, and we couldn't be more thankful for all the love and support after all that we had been through. We got married on July 28th. FYI, I added in our vows that after what we just went through, it showed her I would truly stick by her for better or worse. She laughed and had the biggest smile on her face. Today, we're coming up on our 14th wedding anniversary, and we just had our second child a few weeks ago. Congratulations. Our kids will learn about our wedding story because it is straight out of a movie. If this isn't a sign that we're meant to be, then nothing is. That's our wedding story, and it's something I'll never forget. That probably is one of the craziest wedding stories I've ever heard. Remember the Waffle House one? That too. What a crap show that was. This would make a great movie script. Just saying. Just saying. It could be rom-com, but also like a little like thriller action movie meets rom-com. We can make it more dramatic. That'd be so fun. Can I be Ruby? I want to be Ruby. Anyways, what a wild story, and thank you for sharing that. All right, the next story wants to be left anonymous. So this happened a few years ago, but I wanted to share my nightmare date. Oh, there's just something about hearing about dates and dates going very badly. It's very entertaining. I don't know. I, 23 female at the time, met a guy, 27 male, from Tinder. I was house sitting regularly for clients, and I ended up meeting him around the time that I was at one of my December regulars. He is quite tall. I am 1.75 meters, and he is 1.9 meters, if I remember correctly. I don't know what the heck that means. I'm like a 5'8" kind of gal, you know? I'm not about to try and do the math for that. Despite watching crime series and knowing better, I let him come over our first meeting. I'm shaking my head. I went over to someone's house the first time I met, way back in the day. Give me a break, Joss. But to be fair, like his parents, his mother was there and she lived there. We were younger. We were in university. Yes, I know, stupid, right? Everything actually went super well and we ended up seeing each other 3 more times. Now, on the 5th date, I was at another client's home. To give you an idea of his traveling to come see me, he lived about a 40-minute drive from my area, and the second house where he met me for our 5th date was quite close to his work. He decided that he wanted to see me after work on Thursday evening, knowing that we both had to work the next morning. But I said, sure, why not? I asked him what we should do for dinner and if I should put something together, but he said that he would grab some food for us and that I can just let him know what I want to eat. Me, being a budget eater, chose something inexpensive just to see him take out delicious sushi for himself to eat in front of me while I ate my chicken pasta. Now, setting the scene for you all. The gate was locked with a big hang lock as our country has a high crime rate. Perfect. What a great detail to add in there as this stranger is entering all your homes. The front door is locked and it leads to the living room, which has its own door, also locked. The only open door was the back door for the cat and dog. We are sitting in the living room and behind us is the open kitchen that leads to the open back door. He propped off his shoes, went to the bathroom. I set the coffee table with juice and our food. The TV is playing one of my regular shows, and then he comes to sit next to me on the L-shaped couch. It's a corner couch. After dinner, I asked him which movie or series he would like to watch. We have been intimate on our last date, but I just wanted to have a chill night with some cuddles and kisses, nothing else. He kept touching me in places, and I kept softly pushing his hands away, even holding them in place on his chest, laughing it off. I mentioned to him that I really just wanted to chill and watch something together, but it got to a point where he was frustrating me and didn't get it. I decided to sit back away from him and pretend like everything is fine, but wanting him to leave. Then, out of nowhere, he jumps onto my lap, his legs binding mine between them, grabs my neck, and stares into my eyes for several seconds. Choking you? Which really felt like forever. I didn't want to show that I'm scared. I kept my eyes open and all the tears started blocking out my eyes, but not one tear fell. All of a sudden, he smiles with his creepy grin, laughs like this creepy clown, and finally lets go of me. When I tell you, so much went through my mind. I was thinking how I would open all these freaking locked doors to escape, that if I run to the kitchen behind me, there are knives that I could grab to defend myself and then run out the back door. But then I would need the key for the lock on the gate. I have never been so scared in my life. He finally got up, went to the bathroom, and I ran to the kitchen, staring at the block of knives. He came back out like nothing happened and asked if he could have some water, please. Me, being scared and polite, took him a glass of water and went to sit on the corner furthest from him, making sure to keep an eye on him. Him, being so tall, was able to reach me knee with his toes, and he kept touching me with them. Then finally asked why I'm sitting so far away from him. Oh, see, you're so much better than I, because when I tell you, I don't know if I'd be able to play it cool. I don't think I should be in a serious life-threatening situation. Truly. I tried to distract him by changing the subject to talk about him and then presumed to say, we should probably end our visit by 10 p.m. as we both work tomorrow. He shrugged it off and tried to find something to watch on TV. We, or I, should I say, I sat in this fight or flight mode for the next hour, and when it got to 10:15, I said, oh wow, look at the time. We definitely need to say goodnight. It's getting late. He replied with, what's the issue? It's not that late. I then replied with, well, I want to be able to focus at work, so let's get up, please. He scuffed at me, then jumped up and ran to the bathroom. I cleared all the dishes, got his stuff together, and I made sure he had no reason to come back. He came out of the bathroom so angry, looking furiously for something. When I asked him what's wrong, he said his wallet was missing. Here we go. I thought he was going to try to blame me for stealing his wallet. I asked him where he had looked and where he might have left it, and once he checked the entire area we were in, I suggested his car. He finally gave in, grabbing his shoes, bag, and keys, and once we got to his car, he found the wallet there. I unlocked the gate, gave him a hug, being super polite as if nothing was wrong. I said he should be safe driving home, and I thanked him for dinner. Once he was out of the gate, I locked the gate and all the doors so fast, locked the back door, and jumped into bed upstairs. I finally let go, and tears streamed down my face, thinking of the horror I had just witnessed and what could have gone wrong. Yeah. Also, call the police. That man choked you. Crazy. Some context. My father abused my mother since I was born and up until he divorced her when I was 4 years old, and then some after when he was upset if she dropped us off late for visits. I grew up with an angry father who was literally hired by the army to be a manipulator in correspondence and tactics. He used this on us and is basically a narcissist, conditional love and all that. Oh, I'm sorry. That's hard. So when a man shows any signs of abuse, I run far away. I will not tolerate such a person. So once he got home, he texted me to say thanks for the great evening, upon which I replied and I said, "Thank you for dinner, but I don't think I want to see you again. Tonight wasn't great for me and I didn't appreciate you grabbing me by the neck. You scared me." He said that's not what he meant and wanted to explain in person. I'm good. Honestly, I wouldn't have even texted him, so you're doing better than I. I think I would have gone and got some kind of restraining order against this psychopath and then just texted him the restraining order. I said no, and he asked several more times, but I just said I am not comfortable with seeing him in person and that we should see other people. I blocked him. The one good thing that came out of this is he never knew where I actually lived and only knew of my house. I felt relieved and I moved on. Now, I, 31 female, have been happily married for over 5 years with the sweetest, most patient man, and we are a Tinder love story. Well, I'm happy for your happy ending. Also still terrified that this man is out there in this world. That's so disturbing. I don't like that at all. I would definitely need therapy after that, because I don't know if I'd ever want to sleep alone after that, you know? People are crazy. Before we get to our next story, you know what time it is. We're hydrating. Cheers! If you want to see Lila going absolutely cuckoo bonkers, you should watch my newest vlog on the second channel. The Dollarama haul, the real ones. If you know, you know. Isn't that right? Did somebody do something bad? Was someone going absolutely crazy? Yep. All right, the next story is also anonymous. I, 33 female, was the last employee standing during the Magic Moments Bridal and Carly's Closet collapse. Oh. Here's the truth from the inside. I need to get this off my chest. After years of school and being a mom, I finally landed my dream job in June 2025 at Magic Moments Bridal. I knew there was drama, but I was good at my job. I sold a grad dress on my very first day. I just wanted to get work, get paid, and not get scammed. Then the great walkout happened. Every other employee quit because they weren't getting paid. I almost left with them, but something felt wrong, so I stayed. When I walked in that day, Kay, 50 female, cried. From that moment on, it was just us against the world and against the silent partner that no one knew about. Let's call him Con Man. The realization Con Man was a ghost until I started seeing the bank envelopes. That's when I realized that Kay wasn't the one pulling the financial strings, he was. While we were selling dresses and trying to save the business, the ground was being cut out from under us. The chaos timeline, the eviction lie. Con Man told us he was breaking the lease at Carly's Closet, and we had to cram an entire store into Magic Moments in 1 week. We spent days hauling stock and rearranging everything. Later, we found out the truth. He didn't break the lease, he was evicted for non-payment. Then the shield. Every day, angry brides and grads came in demanding their money for their dresses. I had to be the professional face of a disaster I didn't create, calmly directing them to an email address for con man that I knew likely went nowhere. Then the 3-day nightmare. Suddenly, con man decided to auction everything. We had 3 days to catalog over 800 wedding dresses, accessories, and fixtures. I was lifting 25 to 50 pound gowns on and off mannequins so fast, I ended up with a chest wall inflammation. I literally injured my body for a man who wasn't even paying us. Also, like, a scammer. Then the 45 wedding dress. During the auction, I ran the store alone. I watched a 4,500 designer gown sell for $45. It was sickening. The auction company yelled at me for commenting on it, and in the end, neither Kay nor I saw a single cent from the sale. The final betrayal? Kay had given 9 years of her life to those stores, 7:30 a.m. to 5 p.m., 6 days a week. After the auction, we tried to pivot and just grow Carly's closet. Instead, con man gave us a week and a half to get out. We had to call every single co-signer to pick up their items while dismantling 9 years of history. The aftermath? I was Kay's rock through the hardest moments of her life, watching her legacy be stripped away by a man who wouldn't face the music. This town loves to gossip, but unless you were in those 4 walls with us, you have no idea how hard we fought to keep the magic alive while the ship was sinking. That's crazy. I mean, bless you for being such a good person to just do all that, all your time and energy to not even get paid. Bless you. I'm sure Kay appreciates it. Let me know your thoughts and feelings, you guys. These are your stories, and if you want to submit, make sure you do, because I'm gonna keep doing some of these videos. Stay classy out there. Stay sassy. Bye.